Alright guys, let's start with the first section for the Code 8 Light Motor Vehicle Test. Rules of the road. Question number 1. When may you not obtain a learner's license? When may you not obtain a learner's license? If we look below, we've got the three choices, 1, 2, and 3, and then we have the A, B, C's, which is where your answer is going to come from. It's either going to be A, B, or C. Now, with this particular question, we will call it a multiple choice question, meaning that there is going to be more than one correct answer. Alright, let's look at the first option. They say if you already possess one. Yes, if you already possess one, you don't need to go for another one. Number 2, when your license has been suspended. Yes, you still have a learner's license, it's just on suspension. Number 3, when you were declared unfit for a period of time and that period is still valid. Alright, so in all three of those cases, you may not obtain a learner's license, which is true and correct. Our answer will then come from the A, B, and C, which is B. All of the above are correct. Right, let's move on to the next one. When may you pass a motor vehicle on its left-hand side? When may you pass a motor vehicle on its left-hand side? They give you 4 choices there. First one says when it indicates its intention to turn right. Second one says if it drives in the right-hand lane with 2 lanes in the same direction. Number 3 says when the vehicle in front of you stops at a stop. Number 4 says when a policeman or traffic officer commands you to do so. Alright, the question again reads, when may you pass a motor vehicle on its left-hand side? Alright, usually we drive on the left of the road and we pass on the right. Alright, but there will be some instances where you could pass a motor vehicle on its left-hand side. Alright, the first option says when it indicates its intention to turn right. Yes, the vehicle in front of you is going to turn right out of your way and you may pass him on the left. Number 2 says when it drives in the right-hand lane with 2 lanes in the same direction. Yes, you may do so because it's 2 lanes going in the same direction. Think of a freeway, and the vehicle is on the right-hand lane. You can pass him on the left lane. Yes. Number 3 says when the vehicle in front of you stops at a stop. No. When the vehicle in front of you stops at a stop, he is not stopping for any particular reason other than obeying the rules. So you have to also stop at the stop. Right, so number 3 is the odd one out so far. And then we have number 4, which says when a policeman or a traffic officer commands you to do so. Yes, usually it's more the traffic officer that commands you to do so, and again they will not tell you for any particular reason other than the reason that they will give you. So our answers there is going to be A, B, or C. We've got 3 correct answers, so it's not A. A says only 3 is correct. We have to be specific which 3 are correct, and that is going to go down to C. Answer 1, 2, and 4 are correct. Alright, very careful how you answer your questions. Okay, number 3, question 3 is a straightforward multiple choice question, which means when you get a question like this, there's only ever going to be one correct answer. Alright, and the question reads like this: at what speed must you drive when towing another vehicle with a tow rope? At what speed must you drive when towing another vehicle with a tow rope? Alright, how do I get to this answer? I have to ask myself, when I tow another vehicle with a tow rope, am I going to be driving fast or am I going to be driving slow? The obvious answer is that I'm going to be driving slow. My next question is going to be, how slow will I go? Alright, and if you look at your answers there, you've got A, 120 kilometers per hour, and then you have B, which says 40 kilometers per hour, and then you have C, which is 30 kilometers per hour. Alright, we will go for the lowest number, which is 30 kilometers per hour. Alright, if there is another option that says 20 kilometers per hour, do not choose that. It is in fact 30. 30 is the maximum speed allowed for towing vehicles. You can drive slower but not faster. Alright, bear this in mind because there is more questions on towing coming later on in the test. Alright, moving on to question 4. Just excuse the focusing of my camera. Question 4 says, how far ahead of you may your vehicle's dim light shine? Alright, firstly we need to understand what the dim lights on the car. And the dim lights on the car would be the little lights on the vehicle. Some vehicles have 2 lights. Some vehicles have one big headlight with 2 lights inside of them, which means when you first turn on the switch, the lower beam will come on, which we then call the dim lights, and when you turn the switches for the second time, the brighter beam will come on, which we will call the headlights. Now let's not mistake the brighter beam for the bright lights for driving on a dark road with no lights. Okay, there is another switch for the brights, which we call the brights on the car. Okay, so your second switch will be your normal headlights, driving lights for at night, and then the first one will be the lower beam. Okay, this will then be your dim lights. Alright, just trying to stay in focus. Question 4 says, how far ahead of you may your vehicle's dim light shine? Alright, we have 80 meters, we have 120 meters, we have 45 meters. Alright, now the question here you want to ask yourself is, why do I have those lights on? Alright, you have them on because you are parked off on a dark road, and the reason why you have them on is to be seen, to make your vehicle visible to other cars or other vehicles. Alright, and if that's the case, how far do you want these lights to shine from the car? Okay, so does that mean you want it to shine far away? Does it mean you want it to shine close by? Alright, the answer is close by, and close by is going to be about 45 meters, which will illuminate the car. Alright, if the lights shine far away, it's not going to illuminate the car, but it's going to illuminate the road, causing you to see for a distance. So the answer here is going to be C, 45 meters. Alright, moving right along, we have question 5, which reads, when may you enter or cross a public road? When may you enter or cross a public road? A public road is any intersection. Alright, A says, in any manner as long as you turn into the intersection in time. That means any way that you want to, and that does not make sense. Alright, B says if it can be done without obstructing traffic and if the road is clear. Sounds very safe. Possible answer. C says if there are cars approaching which are not too far off. Alright, there are cars approaching and they're not too far off. Can you take the chance? Can you take the gap? No, we don't take chances. We will do B, if it can be done without obstructing traffic and if the road is clear. Question 6. When must your vehicle's headlights be switched on? Alright, hopefully we understand what the headlights of the car is. Okay, it's the normal beam that we use for driving. Yeah. Alright, if I say that, I'm going to give you the answer. But let's look at the possibilities. Number 1 says, if it drives in the rain, if it rains and you cannot see in front of you. Number 2 says, if visibility is not clear for a distance of 150 meters. Number 3 says, from sunset to sunrise. Hopefully all of us know what it means when we say from sunset to sunrise. Okay, and the answer here is going to be all of the above. C is the answer. Alright, in all those particular circumstances, you will have your headlights on. Alright, on rainy days, we see people driving with their headlights. Yes. When visibility is not clear for a distance of 150 meters, it's maybe misty or something. Yes, you have your lights on. And then from sunset to sunrise, yes, that means during the night. Alright guys, you're doing fine so far. Moving on to question number 7, which reads, all road signs with a yellow background are called warning signs, temporary signs, or regulatory signs. Alright, now to get to this answer, you don't need to know what a warning sign is, a temporary sign, or a regulatory sign. But what you do is listen to my story. Normally when the people work on the roads, they have all these different signboards, right? And then once the road is fixed, they take these signboards away. So we can clearly say or safely say that those road signs were not there permanently, but they were there temporarily. All right. So all road signs with a yellow background are called temporary signs. All right. And just for interest sake, a warning sign is always a triangular sign. All right. It's the shape of a triangle, and that's how you know it's a warning sign. Regulatory signs are always round or circular, and that's how you know it's a regulatory sign. All right. But all road signs with a yellow background are called temporary signs. Question number 8. The speed at which you may drive on the road is always 100 kilometers. Not true. The speed at which you may drive on the road is always shown by the signs on the road. Yes. The speed at which you may drive on the road is always determined by the driver of the motor vehicle. Not true. Our answer is B. Question number 9. When you come to a robot and the red light flashes, you must do something. Okay, when you come to a robot and the red light flashes, firstly, let's understand what it means when the red light flashes. Okay, it means that the robot is flashing irregular, or that this robot is not working properly. So what happens at such a robot? It becomes a stop. Alright, and our answer is going to be A, stop and proceed only if it is safe to do so. B says you must be on the lookout for traffic police, don't do that. And then C says you must wait for the light to turn green and proceed. Also don't do that, because the light is broken, it will not change to green. Alright, the correct answer is A. Question 10 says, when do you have the right of way? Alright, do we understand what it means to have the right of way? Right of way means when do you proceed before the next person. Alright, question answer 1 says there, if you are already in a traffic circle. Yes, if you are already in the roundabout, you have the right of way. We cannot stop in a circle. There are no stop signs in a circle. Question answer 2 says, when you stopped first at an intersection and the light is red, do you have the right of way? No, you do not, because the robot is red. Everybody stops at the red light and everybody goes at the green light. So 2 is out. Number 3 says, if you have stopped first at a four-way stop, do you have the right of way? Yes. The rule for the four-way stop is first one to stop, first one to go. So we have 2 possible answers there, and our answer is going to be B. 1 and 3 are correct. Number 11. It says, what must you do when you hear a vehicle sounding a siren or a bell? Alright, in today's times, it's no longer a bell, it's a siren. Alright, so what must you do when you hear a vehicle sounding a siren? A says, blow your hooter and drive faster. Ridiculous. B says, give way to the emergency vehicle. And C says, stop your vehicle immediately. The answer is going to be B, you give way to the emergency vehicle. We do not stop our vehicle immediately, because we might possibly block the way for that emergency vehicle trying to get through. So the correct answer there is going to be B. Moving along to 12. If you want to turn left with your vehicle, what do you do? If you want to turn left with your vehicle, you A, indicate in good time, B, turn without indicating, or C, stop and then turn. Alright, the answer is in fact A, you indicate in good time so that people know what it is that you're planning on doing. Moving along, we have question 13. A vehicle of which the brakes are not good must be towed with a tow bar, a rope, or a trailer. Alright, so the vehicle that you're trying to tow have no brakes, or very little brakes for that matter. what are you going to use to tow this vehicle? You will not use a rope because that's just stupid. Not a trailer as well, but in fact you will use a tow bar. A tow bar is a solid metal pipe that you hook up between the two vehicles. The rope actually goes through the pipe and connects the two vehicles so that when the one vehicle slows down, the other one slows down as well. Alright, so our answer there is going to be a tow bar. Question 14 reads, the general speed limit in a town or a city. Just think about the area or the neighborhood that you live in. What is the general speed limit there? Should people be driving fast or should they be driving slow? And this should help you with the answer. Alright, the answers go like 120 kilometers per hour. B says 60 kilometers per hour. And C says 80 kilometers per hour. The correct answer there is B, 60 kilometers per hour. Alright, question 15 says the last action you must take before doing a lane change. The last action you must take before doing a lane change. Look in your rearview mirror, check your blind spot, or C, put on your indicator. Alright, so firstly, what would be the first thing that you're going to do in order to get to the last thing that you would do? Alright, first thing that we'll do is we're going to look in the rearview mirror, see what's happening behind us. Secondly, we are going to switch on the indicator, and then lastly we're going to check the blind spot. Alright, so the last action you must do is check your blind spot to the side that you're going to make absolutely sure that it's clear before doing that lane change. Question 16. You may not leave your vehicle unattended if the engine is running. B says reverse for more than 80 kilometers, and C says drive on a freeway if you only have a learner's license. Now, if you have a learner's license, you can drive anywhere providing there is a licensed driver with you. So that is not true. B, reverse for more than 80 meters. Yes, you can reverse for any distance as long as it's safe to do so. But you may not leave your vehicle unattended if the engine is running. That is our answer, true and correct. Let's move on to number 17. It says if you want to do a lane change, you must do something. A says stop and then change lanes. B says put on your indicator and after looking for other traffic, change lanes. And C says switch on your indicator and change lanes. The answer there is going to be B, which explains it a whole lot better. Alright, question 18 says you are not allowed to stop 5 meters from a bridge, tunnel or subway, next to a vehicle if the road is 9.5 meters wide, or within 1.5 meters of a fire hydrant. Okay, the answer here is you are not allowed to stop 5 meters from a bridge, tunnel or subway. Alright, because the correct distance is in fact 6 meters. Alright, you are not allowed to stop 6 meters from a bridge, tunnel or subway. If you stop 5 meters, you are in the way. Number 19 says at an intersection, you need not stop at a stop sign. B says children crossing the road when the red man signal starts showing have the right of way. Alright. C says taxis can stop in it to offload passengers. Alright, now if you do not understand this question, the answers here will actually help you, because C is a silly thing to do. Taxis can stop in an intersection to offload passengers. No, it's not allowed. Okay, and if you say you need not stop at a stop sign, that's also incorrect. So the answer has to be B. Children crossing the road when the red man signal starts showing have the right of way. Alright, that means while they're on that pedestrian crossing and the red man signal is coming on, they can still cross over. Question 20. You can pass a vehicle on the left by going off the road. Does that make sense? You can pass a vehicle on the left by going off the road. Off the road, no. B says you can pass a vehicle on the left without driving on the shoulder of the road. possibly. And then C says you can stop within 6 meters of a bridge. Alright, if we say stop within 6 meters of a bridge, that means less than 6 meters. Alright, so that is incorrect. Our answer here is you can pass a vehicle on the left without driving on the shoulder of the road. The shoulder of the road is the yellow line area. Alright, 21. When may you not pass another vehicle? When may you not overtake or pass another vehicle? Alright, first option, when you can only see 100 meters because of smoke over the road, when you are nearing a curve, when you are nearing a hill. Yes, in all those instances you are not allowed to pass another vehicle. So our answer there is going to be C. All of the above are correct. Right, moving along to number 22, it says if you are involved in an accident, you must stop your vehicle immediately and check for injuries. B says drive off immediately. And C, check for damages on your vehicle. Alright, the correct thing to do is to stop your vehicle immediately and check for injuries on both sides. Alright, 23, which is allowed when towing another vehicle? Number 1 says a motor car tows another and drives 35 kilometers. That is not right. Remember we said that the maximum speed is 30. Number 2 says you can tow another car with a tow bar. Yes. And number 3 says a tractor tows a trailer with 10 passengers and drives 30 kilometers per hour. True and correct. Alright, so we've got 2 correct answers, specifically number 2 and number 3, which means the answer is B. 2 and 3 are correct. Moving along, 24 says what must you be able to do if a vehicle suddenly stops in front of you? Alright, without warning, this vehicle suddenly stops in front of you. What are you going to do? Or what should you do? Alright, A says accelerate and pass. There will be no time to do that. B says stop next to it. There will also be no time to do that. And then so the answer is C, stop without swerving. Right, number 25. You may not enter an intersection if the traffic lights are green. You may not enter an intersection if there is not enough space in the intersection. You may not enter an intersection if the road is wide enough to pass on the left. What is the right one there? The right one is B. You may not enter an intersection if there is not enough space in the intersection. Does that make sense? Because where are you going to go? There's no space, there's no room for you. Okay, so that's a true statement. The answer is B. 26 says your tire tread may not be less than 10 centimeters, 2 millimeters, or 1 millimeter. Your tire tread, and the tread of the tire is in fact that pattern on your wheel or on your tire, and it may not be less than 1 millimeter. Just think about it, guys. If it's less than 1 millimeter, there will be no tread left, so it may not be less than 1 millimeter. 27. Who must be in the vehicle with you if you only have a learner's license for a light motor vehicle? Who must be in the vehicle with you if you only have a learner's license for a light motor vehicle? Is it going to be your father? Or will it be someone with a valid driver's license, the same code or higher? Or a person with a motorcycle license? Definitely it's going to be B. Someone with a valid driver's license, the same code or higher. 28. What is the maximum distance between two vehicles when being towed? What is the maximum distance between two vehicles when being towed? The biggest number there is 3.5. Alright, this is the distance of the rope or the length of the rope that we're asking for. Okay, so the gap between two cars must be 3.5, no longer. Otherwise it will just create an illusion that the two vehicles are following each other closely. Alright, so it's 3.5. 29 says, when are you allowed to drive your vehicle in the right-hand lane facing oncoming traffic. Alright, in other words, when are you allowed to drive on the wrong side of the road? And I know the first answer that comes to mind is never. We never do that. Alright, but never say never, because when a traffic officer commands you to do so, yes, you have to obey. Alright, and again, they might be working on the road and they will ask you to divert to the other side of the road. So yes, when a traffic officer commands you to do so, yes. Alright, and not see if you feel that you want to. Question 30. When being overtaken, you must keep left as far as possible, do not accelerate, keep driving in the middle of the road. Alright, yes, we keep left as far as possible. We do not accelerate with a vehicle that's trying to overtake us because they are faster. And 3, keep driving in the middle of the road. No, you can't keep driving in the middle of the road and then keep left as far as possible at the same time. Alright, so the answer there is going to be 1 and 2. Okay, keep left as far as possible and do not accelerate. Question 31. You may stop your vehicle X amount of meters from a bridge, tunnel or subway, and that is definitely 6 meters. Alright. Question 32. You are not allowed to park your vehicle on a pavement. True. You are not allowed to leave your vehicle unattended if the engine is still running. True. You are not allowed to spin your vehicle's wheels. True. You are not allowed to use a vehicle without a fuel cap. Also true. So all of those are true, which means the answer is B. All of the above are correct. Question 33 says you may not leave your vehicle in one place for more than 24 hours, 48 hours, or 7 days. The correct amount or time there is 24 hours. Alright. 34 wants to know your vehicle's hooter may be used to show someone how loud it is, must be heard by pedestrians for at least 50 kilometers, or C, the pitch in the sound must not be changed. The answer here is in fact C, the pitch in the sound must not be changed. What that means is that your car is not a cell phone. It must not have a ringtone or a funky hooter. It must have a normal hooter. Alright, so the answer is C. 35. Which of the following may you do? Alright, so look for something that you can do. Alright, A says drive through a red traffic light. No, you can't. Allow someone to sit on your lap while driving. No, you can't. C, drive in reverse as long as it is safe to do so. True and correct. 36 says your motor vehicle's clearance certificate, the license disc on the car, is valid for 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. Alright, it is valid for 12 months. Every year you have to renew your vehicle's license disc. 37 says it is not permissible. Another word for permissible is it is not allowed if your passenger sits on the bonnet of your vehicle while you are driving. Correct. Talks to you while you are driving, or sits behind you if you only have a learner's license. Alright? What is the most silliest thing to do is to allow someone to sit on the bonnet of your vehicle while you are driving. So that is not allowed, and it's true. The answer is A. You can do B and you can do C. Alright. 38 says you may stop on a freeway only. Now, we know that you're not supposed to stop on the freeway, but there are certain instances where you could. And A says to stretch your legs after a long journey. No. B says in conjunction with a road traffic sign. Yes, if there's a sign that says you can do it, then you can do it. Alright, and C says to pick up hitchhikers. Do not pick up weirdos along the way. Alright, question 39. When driving on a public road, basically when driving on any road, your vision on the road must be unobstructed. It's true. When driving on a public road, you don't have to check your rear view mirror. False. When driving on a public road, you can disobey a road traffic sign. also false. The one that is true is A. When driving on a public road, your vision on that road must be unobstructed. Alright, the last question in the section is question 40. It says, when the robot is red and the green arrow flashes to the left, you may proceed straight on, proceed left if your intention was to turn left, or C, wait for the light to turn. The answer there is B, proceed left if your intention was to turn left. So guys, this brings us to the end of this section, which is the rules of the road. There are 40 questions, of which you will get 28 questions on the original test. So out of this 40, you will definitely get 28 questions on your original test.